Hey everybody, today I want to bring you a message about what do you do if you break no contact. People ask me this a lot, they have a slip somehow, some kind of message gets through or they reach out or they go take a look, at this person's like social media page and then they go right back, into the fall. And so what happens when you break no contact? The short and simple answer is you get back up, baby. You get back up. And, recovery is not about not making a mistake and not falling. It's about how quickly do you get back in the game, once you've fallen. Like, how quickly do you get back up once you've been down? And, the no contact thing, that's about the boundary. And, no contact really is like the epicenter of your power in the situation, because it's the only way that you take your power back from the abuser, by not being in contact with them at all, by not giving them that. And what is contact? Not only is it like text and phone and email and social media and direct communication with the person, but it's also like looking at photos and looking at old emails or old letters or their sweatshirts or their jewelry or any of this stuff, which really is considered like paraphernalia of an addiction, because that addiction is the abusive relationship with that person, and the reality is that if you keep that stuff around, if you keep the paraphernalia around, you are very likely to slip back into that place, into that Stockholm syndrome, into the trauma bond. And so the best way to do that is to set that barrier, to set that boundary, and just keep that stuff away from you, not ever to go look at that, not even to like go look at their photo, on social media, because even just seeing a glance at a photo is capable of setting you so far back. And, the only equivalent that I could make to this is like, the drunk who, maybe goes a period of time without drinking, and then they decide, they're just going to go out and have a drink, with a buddy or something. And it goes from like zero to blackout in no time. Like, they don't even know what happened between zero and blackout. They had one drink and they were in too deep. And that's what happens with abuse, is if you have any contact with this person, you can go from zero to that in like no time, and zero to the Stockholm syndrome, and you're in so deep again, and you're in the denial again, and you're self-doubting again, and understand that any contact with that abusive person, even, reading old emails and love letters or sniffing their sweatshirt or something like that, anything like that is capable of sending you back to the beginning of your recovery, like to 0 point and starting again. It's capable of distorting the truth, because all you need to hear is that one thing again that they plant in your mind, that one doubt, and then everything gets distorted and you get confused again, and then you're self-doubting yourself again, and you're thinking, well, if I just give a little more, if I just love a little more, if I just do more of what they want, then everything's going to be okay. And that's just really, really dangerous for your sanity, for your health, and for your well-being. So what happens when you break no contact? Don't beat yourself up about it. It's okay. The average is 7 times, right, that people go back to an abusive relationship, to an abusive person. So if you got out in 2 or 3 times, like, you're doing really good, and don't beat yourself up for those times that you went back, because for whatever reason, if you went back, there was something still unresolved. You were still trying to understand something, and it's really, really important to really accept the fact that you're never going to get, the conclusion. You're never going to get the closure with them that you would in a normal relationship, and you really just have to give that to yourself. Any going back to try to get that closure is just going to distort the truth, and it's capable of sucking you back in before you even know it, and then you're back in another abusive cycle. And so you don't want to keep staying stuck in that cycle, and like the wash and rinse and spin cycle, and back again. So when you catch yourself, when you realize that you went back for another lesson, you went back, and sometimes we go back for those like frying pan lessons to the head, where like you really need to get hit hard in the head, with the truth, like not literally, but like just seeing the truth so clearly that you just finally decide that you've had enough. And when you get to that moment when you've had enough, then you've had enough, and you stop it and you move on. And so, don't beat yourself up for going back, but just get back up. Get back up, stand back up, and put the boundary out there. That boundary is step 1. It's actually like step 0. Like, it happens before like major healing can happen. You have to have that boundary, because until you have the boundary, your energy is just leaking out here and there, and somebody else, if not that person, somebody else is sucking up your energy, and you just don't have access to your energy. You feel exhausted and tired and confused, and you're in the brain fog. So how do you get out of that? Is you set the boundary. You set the healthy boundary to protect yourself. You know, the boundary, it tells you, like, you know, where I end and where you begin. Like, this is all mine, and here, this is what I own 100% of, and what's out there I don't own and I don't accept responsibility for. And I protect my values, right? You want to protect your values, what's important to you, the things that are most important to you in your life. That's what the boundary serves to protect, you know. And keep in mind that a boundary could be something as simple as sharing or oversharing. You know, like, what is safe to share with certain people versus what is better to be kept closer to you and only shared with people that you really intimately trust, and you know who are trustworthy and who truly love you and won't use that to their advantage. So if you fall, it's okay, you know, get back up, you know, put the new boundary there and go in with the resolution of what you learned. You know, look back at that mistake and turn it into a lesson. Realize that you learned something new. You must have learned something new. What was it? And then put that into place and move forward. I'm sending you all a big hug.